here. So I'm going to go ahead and go live. Check, check. All right. I hope we're up now. I hope we can. Yeah. Hi everyone. If you can hear me, let me know. Can you hear me on the live stream? That is what I mean. Check, check, check. Okay. All right. And when you say you can hear me, you said you can hear me on the live stream, right? That's okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. Good. And we have. Is it gen? I'm gonna mispronounce that. Ganapathy. Ganapathy. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry, but yes. Hey, I'll just call you G if that's okay. G. Yes, that's good. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. so we are live, and we are going to pick up right where we left off. Actually, not right where we left off. I did a little bit of editing. So let me open up the post here. So part one, we set up Blender for video editing workflow. We imported our footage, talked a little bit about frames per second. We created a proxy. We talked a little bit about how to show the cache. And audio and video strip mechanics we spent most of our time on because that's super important. And then just little tips and tricks here with the VSE, things that people might not know. And then I sort of started cutting, and I showed you kind of how to cut, but that took up pretty much all of the time. And I didn't really get to cutting. So so then the second stream yesterday, I did the first pass cut. And today we're gonna have to do the second pass cut, which we're not really gonna do. There's not really a second pass that I have to do because of the workflow that I did. So we're going to start adding our visuals to it. So the intro and the little graphics that I usually put on my screen. That's what we'll get into today, because I didn't get into that yesterday. So we'll start there. So right now it's finish visuals if needed, which they are because we didn't start that. And then as far as the markers go, I'll show you how to do them. I'm not going to go through the whole video and do that there, but welcome everybody. So we've got G, we've got K. I'm going to call you K because I don't know how to pronounce that either. Kazai 3D, Kazaic. Hi. And then, but why does Blender update audio edit like effects? I don't understand the question. Could you rephrase the question, please? Okay, and then then we're gonna prep for rendering. I'll show you all of the things that I do to tweak and get the rendering ready, which a lot of people don't do. And every time I make a rendering video, people think it's too long. They're like, just press F12 to render. Control F12. Yeah, well, yes, but there's a lot more that goes into it if you want to actually render something well. So I need to mute my phone here for a couple of hours. So that is kind of the workflow that we're going to do today. So we'll package what we've cut. Because I've cut, actually. I didn't do the whole thing yesterday live. I did most of it, and then I just cut the rest of it. So here is what we have cut for my next tutorial. And this tutorial will be on the website, which I'll get to in just a second here. But let's see, where am I? This we'll add the visuals to, and do the rendering and stuff today, and maybe some of the time markers. So yeah, let's get started. But before we get started, head on over to blenderfrenzy.com. This is a new website just launched yesterday, or a revamped website. I had blenderfrenzy.com for a while, but this is a new membership site on it, and it basically just acts like Patreon. It is a patron site where you have access to certain content depending on your membership level. And there's only 3 membership levels. The Frenzy freebies, and even if you're just a visitor, you can come and watch some of the Frenzy freebies tutorials, or all of the freebies tutorials. But what you don't have access to unless you sign up are the downloads. So if you sign up for a freebie membership, you can download the freebie files, which then are basically files to follow along with my free tutorials. Or in this case, we've got the Portal Ring of Fire, which you can only watch right now on my website. But it's free. You can watch it. The Ring of Fire also comes with the download the freebie files. You get the actual finished blend file where you can use the portal ring to open it up on any surface, on any material. So just plug in your material, and then you can use a little empty to open and close that ring of fire there. And yeah, so that's free. Join the freebies there. But this is the continuation. So basically, the posts, each post that I make will be part of a member level. This is Frenzy Plus member level, which is a continuation of that Portal series. So I'm going to do a whole Portal series. If you're familiar with the Portal game, how to recreate a portal in Blender, and I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna continue to how to add it to real footage and stuff. And so that's going to be members only tutorials, which you can go sign up, and you can see the 3 tiers here. Frenzy freebies, like I said, you get the free downloads, and then Frenzy Plus, you get everything in the freebies plus early access to YouTube tutorials and members only tutorials. And then Frenzy Pro, you have for $10 a month, it's everything on the site, plus my video editing workflow videos, kind of like what we're doing today. You'll get access to all the assets, the blend files, the motion graphics, anything that I create. Maybe not anything that I create, but most of the things that I create. So transitions, lower thirds. I'm going to do a lot more like intro titles and all of that stuff. We're going to build up a really big bank of all of these things. You'll get the blend files to those and the finished product, so you can just slap those on to your video projects. Full disclosure, I don't have a lot of those there. Actually, I don't know if I have any. Maybe one. but I'm going to build that up. Members only question and answer live streams. So basically, we'll have live streams like this on a regular basis. I don't know what the frequency is going to be of that, but we'll figure that out. And you can ask a question in Blender. It doesn't have to be about video editing. You can ask about video editing, but I will test it for you. I'll be like, okay, well, let's see how does this work. I can't guarantee I'll always have the answers, but I will do my best. And then sometimes we'll just do live streams where we hang out. I'm working on a project, and you get to see what is Justin working on for his next tutorials. So maybe I'll just hang out and say, hey, I'm trying to figure this out, and this is my research now, and I'm trying to build this thing and do this, whatever, and just kind of behind the scenes type of stuff. So blenderfrenzy.com, you can just click sign up and follow the instructions. Good thing about this last thing, and then we'll get into the actual editing, but is the filter here. So let's say you're just here for the freebies. Okay, well, you can select your Frenzy freebies filter here. You do have to click apply after that, and then you just scroll down, and you don't have to be bombarded with all of the stuff that you don't have access to, so because that can get annoying. It's like, oh, this is locked, here's something you can't see, here's something that you can't see, here's something that you can't see. So it's just to make it easier for you to filter out whatever you want. You can filter out different playlists too. So here are the playlists that I have on YouTube, basically, all of my little series. So you got Old Man Justin series, you got the masking series, and a lot of this too, just to mention the Gumroad. My Gumroad account has all of the Frenzy freebies on it right now, which is that'll stay there, but it won't be updated. So I'm depreciating Gumroad. I'll still keep it there for anybody who wants to still use that, but any future freebies is going to go on the site. So blenderfrenzy.com, head on over there and just help me, support me, because I'm trying to get into this full time so I can do more Blender stuff full time, pumping out more content for you guys. Anyway, let's get started. Let me see. Let's read some. Let's just read some things here. What do we got? Am meaning like flanger echo. Oh, I see. Video editing effects. Flanger. Sorry, that's not flanger. I don't know how to pronounce that. I haven't done a lot of audio editing, to be honest. But no. Blender does not. Why does not Blender not have that? I can't answer that, but I can tell you that Blender's video editor. So when they switched over to 2.8, the big update of Blender, the overhaul of Blender, they got rid of the video game editor so that there was a game engine in Blender where you could actually make your own video game. They got rid of that. They almost got rid of the video editor, the VSE. But they decided against it. Thankfully, they decided against it, and so they did decide that they're going to continue to upgrade that. However, the video sequence editor is the last priority of Blender, because Blender is a 3D software suite. So that's not their main goal. Their main goal is the 3D stuff, but to use the video editor along with the 3D stuff, I think is awesome, because it helps, in my opinion, to compete with things like Adobe, Adobe Premiere, Adobe After Effects, plus Maya 3ds Max. Basically, it's a combination of a video editor and a 3D software, and I think that was the best decision. It's just that they need to do a lot of work on it, which they are doing a lot of work on it, but all that to say is, because it's kind of the last priority, yeah, the audio editing in the VSE is also probably way down low on the priority. So that I don't know if that answers your question, but try to reverse my footage but doesn't play in real time. Even if you render it, still plays with a break in between. Well, you can't reverse. I don't think you can reverse audio in Blender. Let me just check. So if I have my audio selected, no, there's no like reverse frames for audio. If you select your video, you can go to video and then click reverse frames. Is that what you're doing? Still doesn't play in real time. It's probably because, and we talked about this yesterday, the first live stream we talked about, but I'll go over it really quick here because it is super important to understand what's happening in Blender. So I'm going to take this, by the way, in order to go up past channel 8, go to view and then uncheck limit view to contents. If you check limit view to contents, I can't go anywhere past where I have a strip. So limit view to contents, uncheck that, and then you can go up higher. I'm just going to duplicate this here, Shift D. We're going to bring that up. If I go to my overlays over here, oh, let me just turn this on here, my little mouse highlighter thing here, so you can see that. If I go to my overlays, I can turn on offsets, and you can see each time I make a cut on one of these, I'll just duplicate this one up here too. It's not cutting the actual footage. The actual footage is the content inside the strip. So the strip has handles that can show or hide as much of the content. But you can see these offsets are where the rest of the content is, and the content is the video, the original video that you imported. So a cut, basically, if I cut this, a cut is just making a duplicate video. So you see how you still have the whole video, but the strip container with the handles is what has been cut or resized. So if you reverse the frames, I'm guessing what's going to happen is it's going to reverse the frames of the whole video, and the calculations are going to be off. It's the same thing with the speed control. So the workaround to this of what I talked about yesterday is, if you take your cut or whatever portion, it could be multiple portions too. So if you have multiple cuts here like this, you could take this and then press Control G to put it in a meta strip, and you can see those offsets are now gone because there is no content outside of this. Now if I bring this in, here's the offset. So but if I pull this out and I pull this out, the content is the selection itself, what you had selected. And this is important because that's what's going to be calculated. So if I press Alt-O to clear those offsets. So this is just the content now. And then I click reverse frames. It's only going to reverse what I have in the meta strip, which is that container. It's not all that intuitive, and if you don't know that what's happening there, then calculations like speed control and reverse frames and stuff could be off. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that is something that a lot of people when using Blender they don't know. Okay, next one. G says, is there any way to increase the resolution in the VSE or have to use text from Blender scene? Well, so if you're using the text, so I'm bringing in text here. Where's my, oh, there it is, okay. And I press period on the numpad, we can zoom into that text. Let's just make a, I don't know, a orange, blue, whatever background. And then let's bring this up to 100%. And then, okay, so let's do just Arial black. There we go. Okay, so if I resize this, I can resize, and I actually wanted to do this anyway as far as like showing you. So if you select your text in the sequencer, the text strip, I can come over here in the preview, press G to grab and move this around. I can also rotate it with R, pressing R, and I just realized I don't have my screencast keys on. They should be on, but and they're not, it's not, why is that not, okay, that's not responding at all, the screencast keys. Let me see if I can go to my add-ons. Screencast keys, we'll disable those. And we'll re-enable those. Oh, that's really weird. I don't know. That's, yeah, something. It could be the fact that I just updated to 3.2.2 and I don't have the correct screencast keys version. It was actually glitching out on me yesterday, so that's probably what it is. So it's not going to help us anyway, so I don't need it today because I'm using my own shortcut keys. Yesterday I used the default Blender shortcut keys when I was cutting, and it was so slow. I have, if you come over here to blenderfrenzy.com, if you sort with Frenzy freebies and video editing, and then you can select as many of these as you want, and then you have to press apply, and then scroll down to my cheat sheet. These are all the shortcut keys in Blender that I changed for my video editing workflow. And the nice thing about this is that you can make your own hotkeys and your shortcut keys, and you can switch back and forth. So you can use yours for a certain task, and then if you do another task like 3D modeling, you can switch back to Blender, or do, you know, make a separate one for 3D modeling. Blender, I also have, these are videos on it, super fast video editing with shortcuts. So if you want to watch those, I explain how to do that. But if you're trying to follow along with, you know, my cutting workflow today, I'm using my own hotkeys, and that's not going to help you if you're still using the Blender default. But I can press G to grab, I can press S to scale. Now if I press S to scale and I scale this up, it's the resolution is not going to be very good, because I'm scaling the actual kind of the strip preview thing. I'm not scaling the text. So what I can do is with my mouse over the preview, I can do Alt S to clear the scale, Alt R to clear rotation, Alt G to center that. So any changes that I make with the actual strip, let's see, let's go back to there. Any changes that I make to the actual strip down here, and I can just do the Alt G, Alt R, Alt S to reset that. But if you go to the actual text properties, if you don't see this, press N like Nancy on your keyboard, and you will see the size right here. So here the size is 60. If I increase this, this will actually increase the text size itself. And now you see you don't have that aliasing because this is still, it's like a almost like a vector graphic. So it's not gonna be distorted. So you kind of have to play with this, and I kind of do a mixture of, you know, both and. But that's, I don't know if that answers the question, but let's see. Text from a Blender scene. Well, technically this is a Blender scene, but if you mean the 3D scene, no, you don't have to use. I hardly use text from an actual like 3D text scene. This is just, to me, so much more intuitive, so much easier, because I can change my what do you call I could change the font and all of that stuff here. Okay, let's see. What do you do other than YouTube? Are you using Blender in your professional work? Yes, I am. I will show you. If I can find it, I will show you a thumbnail of what I just worked on. I made a robot arm for DigiPen. And let me find the graphic that I used here for that. Boom. All right, there you go. Look at that. DigiPen Academy. I just did a basically rigging and animation for them, and I did get permission to show like these images. So, but they're actually going to be putting this on their own YouTube channel. So if you search DigiPen robot arm animation, you'll hear my voice. And if you want to learn how to do the rigging, you can go over there. But yeah, so I do some professional stuff. Now that was Blender. That wasn't the video sequence editor. I used obviously the video sequence editor to create the tutorials, but I didn't create tutorials about. Well, I guess that doesn't matter. But it's video, not audio. Okay. What if we use Shift K to cut? Oh yeah, the hold cut. So that is actually a good question with regards to what we were just talking about earlier. Duplicate this up. So here's your offsets. If I do Shift K to cut, or in my case it's Shift F because I changed my cut to F instead of K. But now if I pull this out, you can see there are no offsets. Shift cut is it's called a hold offset. If I bring this here, basically it just acts like that's the end of the footage. So this is another way. You can use speed control, or you can do the reverse frames. If you make a shift cut on either side, the reason I don't do this when I'm doing speed control or other calculations is because the meta strip is so much more versatile. It's so much easier. You just can put that on there, and if you change your mind, you can reverse that basically, or you can still have the handles be you can still adjust the handles basically to where you want. Now, yes, you can come down here to your time, and here's your strip offsets, your hold, your end time, your hold and stuff, but it's not very intuitive. And you have to kind of tweak these in weird ways in order to get back your original. So I hardly ever use the hold cut, the shift cut. But that is an option. So I hope that makes sense. Basically, the shift cut makes it so that Blender thinks that it's not just cutting the container, it's cutting the content. So it thinks that that's the end of the content. That's the best way to explain that there. All right, my computer is going really slow right now because I got a lot of stuff going on in there. Interesting, I use the hard cut rather than the metastrip. Yep. And that is okay. It's just more versatile with the metastrip. Is there any way for synchronizing audio from an audio recorder with video from a video camera using Blender? Not automatically, to my knowledge. There could be like plugins and tools that use for that. You might want to check out the power sequencer. It might be able to do that. If you go to edit preferences, power sequencer, check that. I don't know what all this, because I haven't actually messed with it myself. So that might do it. But I always use, when I'm in production, production. So when you're recording, I always do like claps. And this is good whether or not you're using, audio separately, but especially if you're using audio separately, then you can line up the claps with your footage. So clapping and making these spikes, that's why they have those, when you ever see the making of movies, they have, the time with the visual and the take number, the scene that they're doing, and then they have that, thing, or the beep, whatever, just a sound to line up the video and the audio. So yeah, thank you so much. I never knew this before. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I am happy to answer these questions. So let's get started here. I'm not going to go into the, how I did everything, obviously, because that was the other live streams that we have. Just get rid of that text for now. But here's what we have. So this is after you've made all of your cuts and you've closed all of those gaps, and you get it looking like you want it to. And these ugly offsets, we're going to get rid of those too. So I'm just going to save this here and save another iteration. Okay, so now, what I like to do is, once I have, because I'm making a Portal series, so I already have a previous Portal tutorial on this that I've already edited fully and rendered and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cut and I'm going to append my previous edit of my previous tutorial. So if you come over here to File, Append, you can go here. Up here you can do your display modes. Display. You can do list, or what is it? Vertical list, horizontal list, and thumbnails. So, and then you have like size control over the size of the thumbnails and stuff like that. So vertical list here, and I'm just going to go up to my previous one. So I'm doing the Portal Embers now. That's what this edit is. So my previous one was the Portal Fire, the flickering flames that stuck out, which again, you can find on blenderfrenzy.com. If you sign up for the Plus membership, you will be able to watch that right away. It's up there now. So yeah, so I'm going to go to Blender, the last edit. So I name my edits, and there's a lot of them because I save in iterations. So you can see A0100, A0101, A0102. And this is because if you're working with open source software especially, and Blender, if it crashes, Blender does have a built-in system of a backup, but sometimes that's not enough. And so I save often in iterations, to where if I completely screw something up, Or if I accidentally save over something, then I know that I don't have to start from the very beginning. So that's why I do this. And I have actually saved over stuff that's really crucial that you can't get back. You know, once you save over something, because Blender doesn't warn you when you go to save something. It doesn't warn you and say, "Hey, you've already have this by the name." All it does, if I click this one, oh well, I'm opening it now, so you won't see it, but it will have the red bar down at the bottom, and that's the only warning you get. Anyway, we are appending something now, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to go to the very last edit that I have, which is A30301. Double click that. And then I'm going to go to scene, and then we're going to add my portal fire scene in here. I know it's that one. I have like 4 different scenes in that edit. And now if I come up to my scenes, you can see the O3 portal fire right here. And if I switch that over to that, this is my finished edit. This is what I rendered for that video. So, and you can, if I zoom in here enough, you can see, oh, that's too far. Here are my time stamps. So I watch it, you know, after I'm all done, I will watch it, and then I will make the timestamps. So 9:17, this is make the fire fade with a gradient mask. And so then I'll put that in the YouTube list so that you can, you know, so people can go to the timestamps if they want to see a specific thing. So I'm just gonna actually, let's see. I'm just gonna delete these markers because I don't need them. Because again, this is appending. I'm appended something, so I've taken the scene from that edit and I've pulled it into this scene, so it's basically a whole copy of that. So anything that I make, any changes that I make in here, it's not going to affect the final edit that I already had. So if I hover my mouse over the area, there's a little area of this dark area here where the markers go, and this is also a good tip. So if I hover my mouse over here, press A to select everything, you're going to select all of your scene strips that you have in the sequencer. But if you hover your mouse down over the marker area, if you have markers and press A, it's going to select all of the markers. This is the same thing with any selection, you know, transformation mode. So if I press G, it's going to grab those. If I press X, it's going to delete those. So delete markers. So just make sure you know, like Blender is very context sensitive as far as its commands. So wherever you're hovering your mouse, whichever area, it's the same shortcut key could do something completely different. So make sure you are aware of that. So we're going to delete all of those markers because I don't need them and they're getting in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to this scene. We're going to copy everything here and we're going to paste it into here, because what this does, this has all of my beginning. Okay, this is hard because my computer's going really slow. So, and I talked about the navigation yesterday in the first stream, so I'm not going to go over all that again. But yeah, so here's the beginning. I'll just kind of show you the beginning of this. Welcome back to Blender Frenzy. I am just. Oh, let's do 25%, so you can see this a little bit better, or maybe a little bit more real time. Welcome back to Blender Frenzy. I am Justin, and we are continuing our portal. Okay, so this is what I've already created, and so instead of just recreating it, I'm just going to use this same exact setup and import the other footage in. But we have a problem. And the problem is, if we come over to our Properties tab here, our frame rate here is 23.98 frames per second. And my scene that I just edited yesterday is 60 frames per second. And that was not on purpose. I accidentally changed a setting in OBS Studio that the recording 60 frames per second. Had I realized that before I started editing, I would have done handbrake to make it 23 frames per second before I started editing. But I didn't realize it, and now all of these are 60 frames per second. So what I have to do, and I messed with this last night because I was like, how am I going to do that with everything already cut? Because it's not, how do you say, practical to select each cut that I made and put a meta strip on there and adjust the size. So there is a better way, and that is what we're going to do with the 60 frames per second scene. I'm going to actually just change that to 23.98 to match the other scene. Now, depending on how long or how big your scene is, how many things you have in there, just how Blender has to calculate, it might take a couple minutes here, but or maybe not a couple minutes, but 30 seconds to a minute. It did, and plus I'm recording and live streaming and all that, so my computer's going a little bit slow now, but what will happen is it's going to calculate the difference. Now, Blender is frame based, so it's not really time based. So your audio, and I don't know if that even makes any sense what I'm saying, but the audio will never, you can't lengthen and shorten the audio like you can the video. So since we've changed our frame rate, so it's done now you can see what's happening. The audio doesn't stretch out because you can't change the audio is going to be real time no matter what. But the video is now like 2.5 times longer because of the frame rate that we changed. And like I said, I could come in here and put a meta strip and then put a speed control and then take this and then this, so turning in that vortex, making it have this, and let's go back actually to here, 0 to 0 in on where this strip is again. And yeah, 25%, there we go. That's going to play better. So I'm going to play that shape effect. So let's just take this, rotate it on the X. That's now it matches up with the audio because I'm basically using the speed strip and then I'm resizing the meta strip down to exactly the timing of the audio strip. If we look at something that hasn't been resized yet, you can see and pull this. Oh, of course. So we're just going to go back. This is going really slow, and we'll just pull this. And the audio is not synced up with that. But again, it's not practical to do that on each one of them. So instead, we're going to do it on all of them at the same time. So let's get rid of the speed control. To get rid of a meta strip, by the way, select the meta strip and then Control-Alt-G will get rid of the meta strip. Okay. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to zoom way out, and let's pull this up here. I'm just going to select the video, just like that. Control-G to put all the video in a meta strip, and then we'll put this out here, and then put our timeline cursor all the way to the beginning, and then Shift Backspace for you. For me, it's Shift V because that is my new hotcut to clear out all of those gaps. Okay, so now we're just going to do the same exact thing on all of them that we did on that one strip. So we're going to take this strip, we're going to just snap it to the beginning there, and you can see this is 2.5 times longer, just like that single strip that we did before. And so we're going to add in speed control and take this and just match it up to our audio, just like that. Ta-da! And now we need to check and make sure that that works. Now, I did leave some mistakes in here purposely so that you can see. But for here at the beginning, let's see. Affects the number that we see here. So let's actually just do, I don't know, 1,000 and then bring. And it's hard to see because, okay, what's happening now? And maybe, okay, I'm going to save this because I don't want Blender to crash. Blender might crash when I try this. So what you can do with your cache is you can select prefetch frames, and then it'll start calculating the cache ahead of time. And let's see if we zoom in here. Yeah. Okay, so you can kind of see it starting to cache in, and this is going really slow. I'm sorry. But yeah, so now it's prefetching those frames ahead of time. And this has been buggy for me in the past. Like I said, it's sometimes cuts out, but caching that in should help us see this. And then bring this to 1,000 here, and then and of course you can't see me now, but I don't know, 1,000, and then bring this to 1,000. But that should be lined up. And I don't think this really, the caching thing is necessarily going to help us all that much in this instance. And then bring this to 1,000. Yeah. So I'm not sure this is actually lined up all that well, and it could be because of this. So let me just move these. Come on. Oh, Blender is so slow right now. Okay. Let's go back here. It's because of the audio. Before I made all of those, closed all of those gaps, I actually had this room tone. Basically, I was using room tone to fill in the audio gaps in my scene. And so I don't need that. So I can actually just delete that. And then also this one here shouldn't be like this. This should overlap a little bit, and this was just from yesterday, what I did yesterday. So I know that I need to have that overlap, and I know this needs to overlap a little bit here. So this is going to affect the timing, but this big gap here also affects the timing. So I'm just going to close that gap again, backspace for you to close that. And now we can hopefully select this again, and let's snap that back here. And if we come back into, whoa, what is happening? Come on. Shift B to box select zoom here. This will go hopefully a little faster on your machine, but just use handbrake. But if you already make your cuts, then you can just do this. And then there we go. So now that should be lined up. It should be lined up fine. Let's go over here. That should be lined up a little bit better. I think also since I have the prefetch frames, I'm just going to uncheck the prefetch frames for now, because yeah, that was really slowing things down of the wall. So let's go back to using our proxy here. I thought it was doing to begin with. Yeah, perfect. It wasn't. It was actually pulling it out. I can see it just enough to know that that's lined up. And what you want to do is make sure it's lined up not just in the beginning, but also in the end. So I don't know how to do that yet. I need to practice with that first, but okay, so the end looks good. Let's go to the beginning, somewhere over here. Oh my gosh, no, 0. There we go. Let's go over here. I've had of all my practices, this
Yes.
is the best. Good. And then, of course, I mean, if you have the beginning and the end in sync, the middle should be in sync, but just
Try that.
to make sure. There we go. Maybe bring this down to, okay, yep. So this is good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, all of this, and put this in a meta strip, because you can nest meta strips, which is really cool. I'm going to save this again, and let's copy this. So I'm just going to press Control C to copy, and then we're going to go to our portal scene where we had the full edit. Here is our previous meta strip with all of our previous cuts, and if I tab into, so to go into a meta strip, you press tab. Here are all the cuts that I had from my previous video. So I'm just going to tab back out and just delete that because I don't need that. And then, or actually I'm going to undo that, and we're going to go to the beginning of this meta strip, wherever this one starts. You can see that right here. Actually, I did extend this out, so I think it's going to be like right here. Let's just see. Let's go to the beginning of this strip. Yep. So this is where I want to put my my meta strip. So now we can delete this one and add in, or Control V, sorry, to paste. And did that paste? Yes, it did, right there. So GY to constrain it up and down. Now we have our new footage right on over our other footage. I'm going to extend that handle out just the same way it did. It was before. Oh, that's not good. Home. B, box select, and there we go. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, we are rocking. And now let's see what we have. So we've got this. Okay, and so this is what we had last time. I am really okay. There we go. So now we have our new footage placed in the exact same way that we had with our other video. So we don't have to like change any of the timing or anything. It's all done for us. And of course, now the graphics are wrong, so we have to go and change the graphics. We have to change the part number, so this is part 4. And then I'll basically show you like how to do that. I'll break everything down as far as like my intro title. I'm not going to show you in this how to make all of those things, but I will show you like the components of them and what I did to make them. But this isn't a tutorial on how to actually make these infographics, but I will. That's one of the things that I know people really wanted to see. They wanted to see infographics. They wanted intro titles. They wanted to see transitions. So I'm going to start focusing heavily on those types of things in my free YouTube tutorials, but even more so with the blenderfrenzy.com. So right before we head to a break, because I'm going to do a break today, because I didn't do a break. We just went like 2 full hours last time, but we're going to do a break today. But before we do, head on over to blenderfrenzy.com to become a member. Becoming a member helps support me to get doing this full time so that I don't have to spend my time doing things that are non-Blender related. I want to actually have the full reign of my day to do Blender stuff. That helps pump out content more for you. It helps me to be able to answer more of your questions. It helps me to be able to engage to you more. So if you come over to blenderfrenzy.com, go to sign up, and you will have a choice of 3 different tiers. So Frenzy Freebies will have free downloads to follow along with my YouTube tutorials. Frenzy Plus is everything in the freebies level. Plus early access to my YouTube tutorials, so you get to see it before everybody else, and members only tutorials such as the series, the Portal series. Everybody gets it free for the first video in this one. It'll be on a case-by-case basis. I don't know. But for the Portal series, you get the first one for free, but the people who are in Frenzy Plus will get the whole series. Frenzy Pro will have everything in the site. So at plus the video sequence editor workflow videos. So watching me kind of prepare for my next tutorial and give you tips and tricks on how I do that, just like we're doing today. Assets and project files, so transitions, lower thirds, blend files, motion graphics, all of that stuff to download. You'll get the blend file, the finished blend file. You'll get the finished product, so the actual masks of the transitions that you can just plug into your Blender scene and use right away. Now, again, full disclosure, not a lot of that stuff is on there yet because I haven't had time to actually put that on there, but it's coming. It's coming really soon. Members only question and live streams. So basically, you don't have to do a super chat to ask a question, and I will try to figure it out for you in Blender. This would be based on a first come, first serve. You have a dedicated. Oh, this is something I didn't show you before. So I'm going to log in here with my own name here, Justin, and what is my password? So logging in to my account, you can see Livestream. You come over here to Livestream. There's a dedicated thing in your account for Livestream. If you have the Pro, it will show up here. So this is where you can go to find your stuff, or to be able to do the live stream. And yeah, only Pro versions will have access to that. But that's where you would go, and you can do a whole bunch of other stuff here too. So you've got your dashboard where you can sign up for post notifications. I'm also working on putting a list of all your available downloads here, so you don't have to go to each post to download them. I don't have that yet, but it's coming. You'll have a list where you can just say, oh yeah, I want to download this one. Okay, feedback. You can rate. Do a rating here for me, Mike, and you can change it. Your rating can change with your mood. So let's say you're having a bad day. You're like, dang, Blender Frenzy, I don't like it. We'll give him a 1 today. And then maybe the next day you're like, I was a little harsh on him, and you just change that here. And then we'll go to the overall user ratings where everybody can see the overall user ratings. You can submit a question here. And that is, yeah, so that is blenderfrenzy.com. We are going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll be back at the top of the hour. Let me just, before I go on break, I want to see if I have missed anything that's... are you doing Q&A at the end? Yes. I'm gonna do Q&A for this, but if you want me to test something out in Blender that's kind of unrelated to what I've already said, I appreciate a super chat for that, because again, like I said, the more I can be supported by you guys for doing this, the better. And what I'll do in the future, as well as I'll do public question and answers, but that will be based on super chats. So if you want to super chat me and you're like, I really need to know the answer to this, or I really need to have somebody else test it out, I'll do that. You send me a super chat, send your question, and I will pop up Blender here and we'll try to figure it out. So that's how it's going to go forward for those who aren't members. But in this live stream, it just depends. Like if it's something that I've already talked about, I'm not gonna. You don't have to pay for that. But if it's something completely different, then I would appreciate the super chat for that. Okay, let's see. Yes. All right. Cool. Well, we're gonna take a 5-minute break and be back, so you guys can, go take a bathroom break, get some water, get some food, whatever, and we'll be back. Let me just make sure I can do this correctly. Oh yeah, my OBS is over here. Alrighty. I think just make sure, let me know if you can hear me. Sorry, it took a little bit longer because, yeah, I was really hungry. I hadn't eaten anything today, so I needed to have some chicken. So I just ate some chicken real quick. But we are ready to start again. So let me know if you can't hear me. And we'll go from there. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat, and so will my moderator. Perfect. I just got confirmation that you can hear me. So, all right. So this, let's start with here, just because this is the thing that you can see the biggest here. Privacy bars. So I like this. This is something that I use for hiding my little taskbar down, my Windows taskbar, and I also hide the Blender version, whatever that I'm working on, like up here that you can see. It's not necessary. It's just I think it's a little distracting, or can be distracting. But what I've done actually is you can see this. This is actually over on top of myself here. And that's because I actually created a separate one for OBS, so to have that in real time. So if I hide this one, you can see the OBS one is behind me, and it just hides my, all of the programs and stuff that I have that are being used. And it's just, again, it's to eliminate distraction from the viewer. And that's what that is. So I'll show you what that looks like. Let's just if I just pull this out over here, and then we'll come here and make this the end frame here, and let's unhide that again and put this right over here. So zoom out. Basically, what I did was I took 2 color strips and I just aligned them up, one on the bottom and one on the top, to where they needed to be. And then what I did was I just rendered out a still image of both of those strips, so that I only had to use one image. Actually, before I did that, I did if you in order to change a color for a color strip, just add in a color strip here. That's Shift A. You can also just click Add right here. And then period on the numpad to zoom into it, grab and move that up a little bit. So here's our color strip. If I scale that, you can see what color it is on the actual strip. And press N to show the properties. Here is how you can change the color. So I can change it to any other color that I want. Or if I click on the color itself, I can use an eyedropper. My English is terrible. An eyedropper. And what I do is just I'd come over here and place my timeline cursor. So I still have the color selected, but the timeline cursor is right here. And then I can just use this eyedropper to match it to a Blender color. So if I do that, now that color, let's just bring this up over here. Now that color should match whatever color I chose there. And I could match it to that color or this color. And so I just matched it to the color that was closest to the bottom, and just duplicated it for the bottom and the top. It gives a nice little, bars to block those things. Rendered it out in one image, and now that's what you see here. That's what this is. A little bit. So I'll just delete that. So that's how I made those. But in this situation, so if I hide this, you can see I'm already using, I already have that automatic privacy bar thing with OBS Studio, so it's already part of the recording, but I don't have it for the top, and that's on purpose, because when I'm editing my videos, I want to know okay, which recording version was this? So right here, it's recording a Portal Embers underscore A0102. So if I'm cutting at a certain point, I'm like, okay, what Blender file was I using at the time of this recording, so that if I need to, I can go back to that blend file. So I don't cover that up automatically, but with these here, if I unhide this one, then it does cover that. But the problem is, it also has the bottom one, which covers my face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this privacy bar here, go to the, again, this is in on your keyboard, in, to open the properties up, and go down to crop. And then I'm just going to crop a little bit off the bottom. So I'm just going to slide that up, and you can see how that crop is coming up. We're just going to crop that. And I don't need to do any more than that, so we will just have it like that. There you go. And now I have the bottom and the top, and it's not now covering my face. So that is cool. We will put that at the end here of our strip. And yeah, so that is that. Let's go to the beginning. I'll show you, I'll break down the beginning of things. 3D Things, hello again. I know you were here yesterday. Actually, a lot of you were here yesterday. We got Sebastian and G and K. I'm just going to say those for names that I don't know how to pronounce. James, I think James may have been here yesterday as well. I don't know. But welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining this live stream and the encouragement that I have from all of you, all y'all. So, okay, let's break down what we have here. So here's a meta strip. Now let's just select this meta strip, tab in to go into the meta strip, and you can see it's just a video of my intro title here. So I use this. I use this for all of my videos. I will put out tutorials on my website of how I made this. You know, maybe I'll do a whole series of how to make different you know, titles. Some of those will be free, but a lot of them will be for the members. So just how to do the little things like this. Now, when I made this animation, the way I did it was I didn't know what I was doing at the time. So I now know a lot more, and I would actually probably, aside from, well, I might actually even be able to do that. I in Blender, you know how at the beginning where you have the F coming in, it's flipping around. I might be able to do that in, no, because I don't think there's a Z-axis. So I'd have to do that in the 3D layout. But most of this can be done in just the video sequence editor. It's fairly easy. So yeah, but this is what I have for all of my, you know, beginning of tutorials that you know. And then for this Portal series, I have added a part 1, part 2, part 3, which I just faded in, and you can see that fade in right here. Let's just zoom in here. You can see that ramping up this curve here. That's the fade on this meta strip. So if I select this meta strip, tab in here, and this consists basically of a color and a text. So a background color and a text. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but if you, I think it's shift, is it shift right click? I switched those two in my other one. So let me go back to preferences, key map, really fast cut. That's my own shortcut keys to the Blender default here just for a second, because I want to see shift. And that's going really slow for some reason. Okay, nope, control. Or is it just right click? Oh, it is still just right click. Or maybe not. So test it out. Shift right click or right click will isolate that. So you will only see in the preview this strip. So you can see only the text here. And if I right click and drag, you can only see this color strip here. And that's with anything, whether that's pictures or video or color strips or effects, that will just show you those. So I'm going to select this text and pull up my properties. And here, if you scroll all the way up on your strip tab, this is what it will say. This is actually part 4. So I'm going to put part 4 there, and we'll tab out of that meta strip. And to make this fade, here's what I usually do. I'm just going to duplicate these. Shift D to duplicate those, and we will pull these over. We'll pull these over here. I'll just show you over here. Okay, so you can clear the fade, by the way, to going the context menu, which is either right click or, in my case, it's shift right click. Well, it was shift. Oh, that's right. I got to change back to my really fast cut. Okay. To bring up the context menu, and you can do clear fade that way. And now it's just, there's no fade anymore. But what I'll do, and this is what I do with any fade, I like to have an exact number of frames that I do the fade. And again, the timing on this is going to be different depending on your frames per second. So remember, we are in 23.98 frames per second, which it's not going to work the same if you have 60 frames per second. You're going to need a lot more frames. But here, I think this is 15. It's either 10 or 15, and I don't remember, so we're going to test it out. Oh, I did the wrong. I have 2 really fast cuts, and I did the wrong one. It's supposed to be this one. There we go. Okay, so beginning of the strip, I'm going to just arrow over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, 15. That's what I usually like to have my fades in this type of situation. So what I'll do is I'll take this, and then I'll click and drag, and I'll press Control to snap it. I'll snap it right here. Now, I can also, this timeline cursor doesn't have to be there. So if I do snapping here, you can see it actually snaps to other strips like this. So that's really cool. And then what I'll do is press G with the meta strip still selected. And if I if I type 15, it's going to go 15 to the right, but then if I type minus, it's going to go the opposite direction. And then enter, and now I know I have exactly 15 seconds that it overlaps. Now, what I'll do is I'll go to the end. You can press page up and page down to move these here, to move the timeline cursor to the ends of the strips. And then, with my meta strip selected, I'm going to add in a fade and say fade to current frame, and then it will calculate, oh, from the beginning to the current frame we're going to fade in. So just like that. And it can be done the opposite way. So if I have my timeline cursor here at the end of this strip, what I can do, here's the current frame that it's on. So if I click in here, I can type minus 15. So to get it exact. And then from here, I can add in a fade, and then I say fade from current frame, and then it will fade out. So if I wanted to have something like that, and then it fades out. All right, so I'm gonna delete this. Now, if I clear the fade here, it's going to clear the entire entire fade. If I wanted to be persnickety and see the keyframes, this is why I've created this VSE prop one. I can pull up my timeline for the properties. I can see my keyframes in here, or actually, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to drag up another one of these and use the dope sheet here to see my keyframes. And let's zoom in here. Okay, so I'm going to limit this to just the selection that I have, and with this, let's zero in on what we have. Yep, so this is the one that we have selected, and you can see this is our fade out. Here's our fade out keyframes right here. I'm just going to do summary because that makes it a lot cleaner. So I can adjust these on the timeline to make them place them where I want, or change the time. Oops, just select one of them. And so making it shorter fade or a longer fade, or just take these at the end and X to delete those so that we still have the fade in, but not the fade out. So that is how I do that. So we can just go ahead and delete those, and we'll go back to the beginning and home. Let's go back to the beginning and zoom back in here, and we'll go on to the next stuff. I hope this is making sense. Please let me know if you have a question on what I'm doing. If you have a question on what I'm talking about right now, you don't need to give a super chat for that, because I'm already working on it. So yep, so there we go. Now we go part 4. And the reason I don't have a fade out here is because I have this cool little fire burn transition, which you can actually go watch for free right now on the homepage of blenderfrenzy.com. Don't worry, I'm not going to do a whole plug here, but I'm just going to show you. It's right here, and you don't even have to be a member. You just be a visitor. You can go and watch this. This is how I do that there. But I actually made this sound with just, I don't know if you can hear that, this fire sound. Okay, and that is just me doing this. And I did several of them. So I did several different, like, I did like a low rumble, and then I did a higher like pitch, and then I just kind of combined them, found the ones that I liked, and then I even made a I combined these into one. And to do that, why not? I'll show you how to do that. What we can do is select these here, and let's, I'm going to hide my meta strip here because I don't want any other sound. So just, we're going to hide this meta strip. And I think that's, okay, so that's the only sound. And then I'm going to just select both of these audio strips. We're going to come up here to view, and then let's see, frame selected here. So we're going to frame selected. Oh wait, no, that's not the one I want. That's like the numpad period. Range. Here we go. Set frame range to strips. So we're going to set the frame range to strips. Then it will start and end frames are on whatever we have selected. And then we can come up here to render, and then render audio. Of course, navigate to where you want your audio. I will make a new audio file here. Audio. And then let's name it. It'll make it FLAC, or a FLAC audio. I'll say swoosh, swoosh, or fire swoosh, but we'll just say swoosh. And then just click mix down, and there you go. And now let's go to the beginning here and add in our sound. Okay, I have to find out what was the when I rendered that audio, where was this? Okay, I'm just going to copy this and cancel, and now add in sound, and we'll just paste this here. Our swoosh. There we go. So now I can just hide these for now before I delete them. Oh, there we go. I don't know if you can hear that train. I live by a train tracks, and this gets really frustrating. Oh, that's good. That's good. You can't hear the train. I just got word you can't hear the train, which is nice because when I'm doing my recordings, it's like when I'm in the middle of saying something. Anyway, back to this fire swoosh sound here. Yeah, so now we have just one, and I like this better because then I can change the way that sounds, the volume with just one. And I'll just keep these hidden for now, but when I do my render, my final render, then I'll just probably delete those. But speaking of final renders and deleting stuff, I'm going to save this and save another iteration. So Control Shift S, and to save in iterations, you see here, if I save this as 603, 603 already exists. That's why this red bar shows. That's your only warning to that you're going to overwrite something. So make sure it's correct. I can press plus to go up one, and then you see the red bar goes away, meaning there's no file in this folder named 604. You can also press shift to go up in 10s or control to go up in 20s. That's also the same thing. Can go down with the minus. What was it? 6? I wanted 604, right? Okay, shift down. Okay, 604. Enter. There we go. Okay. Now, let's home to zoom out, and then I'll press A to select everything, and we'll go to frame range and set frame range to strips. But then that makes my start frame 0, which I don't want it to be 0, so I'm going to change that back to 1. Okay. And let's zoom back in here. What's next? So that fire burn transition. Okay, yeah, I'll have to show you this here a little bit too. So this speed control is on our fire burn mask. Okay. Awesome. All right. Oh, and we have to change this too. So this was part 3. This meta strip here was part 3. So I'm going to delete that, and then we'll show you what's happening here. So our speed, so we've got this. This is our, sorry, the speed control is just to adjust the speed of it, obviously. But what it's using is this fire burn, and this is the overlay. If you watch the tutorial, you'll see what I'm talking about. But this is the fire overlay. But we also have a fire mask. So here's our black and white mask that it uses for, this is annoying me. Let's just hide that sound. That it uses for the actual video. So I'm going to hide the overlay for now. And then we are going to copy this part 4, duplicate this here, put that there. Oh, that's not what I wanted. It shifted everything over because I have this on expand. So instead of doing it like that, we'll bring it all the way over here, like maybe up here like this. So we can resize it a little bit here. Just resize this down. And let's bring this over here. The reason I am not dragging this out and then making a cut is because I think that Blender messes up when it does that. Let's clear the fade on this one. But now we have it saying part 4 instead of part 3 here. Okay, and the reason we need a separate one is because we only want this strip to use that mask. So if I select this strip, I can come over to my modifiers, add strip modifier, mask, and we can keep that on strip, and then we need to find the name of this. So this speed fire mask is what we need. This name, speed fire mask .004. So we're going to look for that. I'm going to start typing speed. Okay, speed fire mask .004. Okay. And now you can see the mask is using, or the meta strip is using that mask for its visibility. And if you're not familiar with masks, black is invisible, white is visible, and anything in between is like a level of transparency or fading in and fading out. So everywhere you see white, you see this part 4. Everywhere you see black, you see it transparent, which then will, if it's transparent, it will reveal what's beneath it. But we have to make sure that the metastrip is recognizing transparency. So you got to select your metastrip, make sure it's alpha over. If you have it as cross, then you're not going to see what's beneath it. You will see these checkerboard mark things, but it's a little deceiving because you don't see what's beneath it. And I'll actually just show you. So let's unhide this metastrip here, and you can see nothing beneath it. But if I change this from cross back to alpha over, now you can see it's overlaying on top of our footage. So that is how that works. And then you just add, oh, that's right. You also have to make sure your mask is hidden. So if I unhide my mask, you can see, since it's over top of my metastrip, all you see is the mask. So make sure you hide your mask, and the metastrip is still using the mask even though it's hidden. And so so the metastrip is visible, so you can still see the effects of the mask here. But we do want our our fire burn overlay on top of that. So we're gonna unhide that. And so basically it's just a fire strip right over our mask to give the illusion that it's burning this away. So that is how that works. I hope that all makes sense. And that's why, and I didn't have to change any of this, except for, of course, the part 4, you know, changing from part 3 to part 4. But usually I don't have that on my videos. So all I have to do is take my new footage that we just cut and just paste it right underneath. I don't have to do anything else because everything is set up already. So I can replace this metastrip with my footage, with any other footage, or with any other video, or with any other image. And it will fade in without doing any work on the fade, because this is already just set, and it will reveal whatever is beneath it. So that is pretty cool. I really like that. Okay, so the next thing here is my little motion graphic that I have, you know, coming in, this lower thirds little title, I guess. And let's see, I'm going to, let's just come in here and mute. I'm going to just select all of my audio and just hide that. We're going to mute that. A tip on this, and I don't know if now is a good time to talk about this, but okay, so I just hid all of my audio. Well, that means if I unhide it, then all of it's going to be unhidden. But sometimes I have stuff, and this is maybe more applies to video. So if I have video masks on top of things, and I select the video and the mask, and I hide both of them at the same time. So let's just say, just for example, let's say I hide this one, and I want this to stay hidden. But then I select multiple things, and I hide it. Now they're all hidden, which is fine. But then when I go back to unhide it, everything is unhidden, including any masks that are supposed to stay hidden. So a tip on this, of course, is my catch-all answer to everything, is before you hide anything, just put it into a metastrip, and then hide the metastrip. That way, when you unhide it, it's very easy just to unhide that metastrip again, and then get rid of the metastrip. Control-Alt-G, and now you have everything that is supposed to be hidden is still hidden, and everything that's supposed to be visible is still visible. Hope that makes sense. So technically, I should have done that with the audio here, but I also do know that I don't have anything of any of the audio that's hidden. Yeah, unless this should be hidden here. 0.05. Ah, yes.
Okay.
So this actually does apply. I want this to be hidden because fast. I just want music here. Now I could just delete that altogether, but this goes with the non-destructive workflow where it's like, well, maybe I change my mind in the future, and if I change my mind in the future, all I have to do is unhide it. Instead of then now if I delete it, I have to go and I have to search for that particular audio thing, and it just takes more time that way. So I hide that. I don't think anything else needs to be hidden. But yeah, ideally what I should do, and what I will do now, is make that a meta strip and then hide that. Here's another tip. This is going to confuse you. If you have nested meta strips, if I press tab right now, it's just going to go back into, or it's going to go into the audio meta strip. And if I keep pressing tab, it's just going to go back and forth. But I want to get outside of the meta strip that I'm currently in. In order to do that, make sure nothing is selected. So just click out anywhere, and now I can press tab to back on out into our regular scene. So just, yeah, make sure nothing is selected. If you're trying to get out of a nested meta strip, make sure nothing is selected. Okay, so let's go. What we need to do is, nice tip. Yeah, thanks. I hope. What tip? Which tip was helpful? That would be helpful for me to know. No, yeah, I know, but I just saw it now, so. Yeah. No, yeah, that's fine. That's why I'm asking. I'm asking Shubham 3D. Nice tip. What tip was nice? I'm curious to know. Like what was helpful. Okay, so here's the breakdown of my my little motion graphic here. Let's just start from the bottom. I'm just going to hide these. Okay, so this is an image sequence that I made. I just animated this and I rendered it out into an image sequence. Again, this is a tutorial for another time, so I'm not going to be doing that. Let's just see if this has any modifiers. So no, that doesn't have any modifiers on it. That's how it is just by itself. So it comes in and then it goes out. And then on top of that, we have a circle, or circle only, and then this just comes in. So this is also something I created. This was created in Blender 3D, the 3D layout, with my easy borders stuff a long time ago, where I animated that edge to go out, and then I rendered it out into an image sequence. So this is just an image sequence, and that's put on top of this. So let's unhide that, and then it goes in and then it goes out the same way it goes in and out. And then we have the top bar, which is our kind of like our category. That's where I use the category. So in this case, the category is portal. And then we have our color, a couple different colors. So yeah, this is those layers. And then we have our text. So I've got our part 3 text, I've got our flames text, and well, let's unhide this. And then and let's just unhide all of these. Okay, now you can't see the category now because this white, the reason I made this white is because I'm actually going to use this animation, this little image sequence as a mask itself. So I'm using that as a mask for the colors. So if I select the color, this is the color blue, you can see the blue is actually using the mask of this tutorial title top only, which is what that's called. Right there. So it's using that. So if and remember what we just got done talking about with our masks, you hide the mask itself. Otherwise you're gonna see that mask instead. And then I'm going to unhide the color that's using the mask. I'm going to try to unhide the color that's using the mask. Unhide. Okay. Strip. Lock. Mute. Unmute. Huh. I don't know why I didn't recognize that. Okay, so that's my color there. And the reason I have two colors is because I use the pink for my quick tips. So if I wanted like a portal quick tip, then I would just hide this one and then unhide, oops, unhide this one. Oh, my double H isn't working for some reason now. Come on. Unhide. And we need to unhide these too. Mute strips. Wow, it's not recognizing that. What I'm going to do, if you come across things like this in Blender, and you need to like refresh it really quick, one thing you can do is save it and then come back up. Make sure you do save it. Come back up to Open Recent and just open the same exact one that you're on, and then that sometimes refreshes any glitches you might have. We'll see if it works in this. See, there you go. It does. So now my double H works. Who knows? Who knows? But the color is not using this mask, or it is, but it's hidden. So we just unhide that for this strip modifier, and now we have this as a pink background instead of a blue background. This is just an idea that I came up with because I'm like, for my quick tips, I'll have the pink background and the blue background. I might change the color in the future. Who knows? By the way, your moderator is the one, the voice behind the quick tips. Quick tip! And yeah, so that's her contribution to those. All right, so, but this is not a quick tip. This is, our category is Portal. And so we have part 3, and then our text, Flames of Fire, and then Portal here. So I'm going to change this because this is not part 3 anymore. So I'm going to select this text and change this to part 4. Enter. And so all of these on top of each other make this animation. The text isn't animated. It just pops in right when the animation finishes, and then it pops out right before it starts. All right. So that's how we do that. Oh, and also, I forgot, we need to change. This is not Flames of Fire. Now this is Embers of Fire. Embers of Fire, part 4. Okay. All right, and let's go to the last one because we need to. So this is also part of my little, like, I guess, asset collection. If you can say it that way. It's technically not assets in the way you're not used to thinking about assets in Blender, but it's basically presets. So let's bring this out over here. Okay. Okay, yeah. Eduardo, I will get your to your question just a little bit here. My moderator gave me a translation, so that's cool. So now we have this this fading in. It says continued in part 4. Of course, you know, we have to change this to part 5. So continued in part 5 because it will be continued in part 5. Enter. Oh, I also want to show you the way I did this. So you see the continued in is blue, and then part 5 is orange. Okay, so let's break this down. So here we, of course, we have our color, but then we have just continued in on as a text So that's just says continued in, and then you say, and then I just have part 5, and then I just, you know, grabbed this and moved this here and lined it up like this. So that's one way you can do it. Another way that you can do it, which is actually better in my opinion, something that I found out later on, we're going to do now. So I'm just going to get rid of this text. I'm going to select this one and say continued in part, part 5, enter. So now it's all blue. I'm going to duplicate this up. Okay, Shift D, duplicate that up. And then this is going to be, oh shoot, you know what? I'm going to undo this because I need to get that color. Okay. So let's just move this one up for now, and we'll hide it because I need to grab this color. And then here we can say continue in part 5. There we go. Now we can duplicate that up. All right, and then select this one. This is another cool tip. I don't know if you know this, but if I hover my mouse over this color, I can press Control-C to copy that color, and then select another one, and then Control-V to paste that color. Okay, now we can get rid of this one. Whoa, not everything, just this one. So now we have the blue underneath and the orange on top, and I can take the orange one, scroll down to crop, and just start cropping this from the left. So just crop this here. Oh, look at that. Oh. And now we have part 5 in a different color. Now you can do this, you can also do this, let's see, if we wanted to make it, you know, just the in. So then we can just make it in, and then we can crop it from the right. Now just the in is highlighted. And this works really, really well, and it keeps your text in the same position. Now, sometimes you might be able to see like a slight outline. So if I hide this one, you can see there's a slight outline of blue around that in. What I would do, and I'm not going to do, actually, we'll go back to making this 0, and then we'll put this here. What I'm going to do also is to compensate for that, I'll take the blue part and I'll just bring that out. Oops, that's too far. Okay, let's try that again. I'll bring this out here. So then we don't have that outline. So then we just have continued in and then part 5. But they're in the same position. You don't have to do a whole lot of work to line things up. All right, so there you go. That's that. And we just have that fading in. And then we have another, I'm not going to go over this again because this is just a meta strip of the same type of thing that we did before. Although we can put our swish here. So if I go back here, add in our swish sound, which is, I think, in here. Yes. Put that up here and hide these. There we go. Yeah. And so this overlays, because we're in the meta strip now, so this overlays then on top of our footage, like that. And then we just stick this in right over on top of here. So we can see, let's go ahead and unmute that now, the audio. Oh, now I went into that meta strip. Click out. There we go. So if you're enjoying this, stay tuned. Oh, let's go to our proxy size. So stay tuned and you'll see me in the next one. Perfect. So I just line it up like this. So you'll see me in the next one. Okay, and you can see here, it looks like our color is off. This is actually a good point. So when you're doing those cropping and the coloring and stuff like this, or if you're working with any text or images and resizing them in any way, if you're using a proxy and you're using the proxy render size, it's going to be off. Now it's much, much better than what it used to be. It used to calculate things completely crazily. So now it doesn't, but it's still a little off, as you can see. So make sure when you're adjusting your text and your images, if you need to be precise on things, make sure you're just viewing it at 100%, because this is what people are going to see. Even though the proxy size, it looks weird, they're not going to see this. It's going to be the correct way. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the end, the very end here. This is right up against there, but you can see it's our transparent checkerboard still. So I'm going to arrow back 1, and we're going to end this there, and that's going to end it in the right way. So I'm going to save this here. We are now ready to start our rendering process. So I'm aware. But I'm not going to just stop now. So I just got we're almost at 2-hour mark, but we're going to go. We're going to keep going because this is important stuff to, we're at the end. This is the final parts of the render. So, if you have to leave, no worries. You can go ahead and head out, but the live stream will be there. You can watch it later. So we've got this set up. We've got everything set up just like we want to render it out. So I'm going to come over to my rendering tab. Okay. Default Blender rendering looks like this. And I'm glad this is kind of an accident, but I'm glad it's like this, because if I just make sure this says render result here, and I'm just going to go ahead and press F12 to see what we have. Okay, so we have this set up right. Now, if you don't see anything here, there could be a couple things going on. The first thing you want to check is on your render properties, come all the way down to, let's see, nope, sorry. This is going to be on your output properties. On your output properties, come all the way down to post-processing, and make sure that sequencer is the only thing that's selected. You can check compositing too, but it's just extra work Blender has to do, and we don't need it because we didn't do any compositing. So uncheck that. Anytime you have sequencer checked, that will be the final output, so it trumps everything else. It's going to be what you see if that's checked. So if you're trying to render something from the 3D view, make sure sequencer isn't checked, because sequencer will, override that. Okay, so we only have sequencer checked, so that's step 1. The next thing here, we need to, of course, make sure that it says render result. And then, of course, we need to make sure our timeline cursor is over something that actually we can see. So make sure all of that is happening. But I like to change my setup here so that I know that what I'm viewing in the viewport is rendering out in our final render. So I'm going to hover my mouse over here to where you see the cursor in this little corner here, and I'm going to click and drag out another area. We're going to change this area to the video sequence editor, and then I'm going to change from sequencer to preview. So this is what we see in our preview, and I'm going to press N on the keyboard. So if I come back over to here, it's the same thing. It's this area here. So if I press N, you get these options. It's the same thing here. So hover my mouse over here, press N, go to view, and we're going to choose our proxy size. Okay, so this is our proxy size. This is our final render. I'm going to make this slightly smaller, and I'm just middle clicking and dragging this around. Also scrolling with my mouse wheel to zoom in and out. It's the same thing over here. Just to adjust these. So this is my preview and this is my final. And then I also like to have, instead of the timeline here, I like to do the video sequence editor as well. And then keep this on sequencer. So we have that. And then hover over here, press home. That way we can see our entire scene here. Okay, I'm going to save it. And then in my output, right away, I'm just going to put a / enter. Let's save that again. / means the default folder it's going to export to is in the current folder your blend file is in that you're working on. So this current blend file is in this folder right here. All right. So let's see what is next. So the next thing that I do before I render is I make sure that what I see here matches here in several just random places throughout my scene. So right here, let's just go ahead and change this. So you can see in our preview, this is what it should look like. And I'm just going to click out so that we don't see any of the outlines. Okay, so this is what it should look like. I press F12 so that we can see this in our render, and that is what it looks like. Let's go somewhere in the middle, and F12, make sure they match. And I just do this for, different things here. And just make sure everything matches. And especially if you have special effects. Or animations or something like that. You want to make sure you zoom in and make sure everything matches up right. So like here, it's fading in. I want to make sure that fade looks the exact same way here. With the fire, I want to make sure this looks exactly like it's supposed to. Okay, so I caught a problem. And that problem is it's not showing what's beneath it. Or either that or what's beneath it is hidden for some reason. So this is exactly why I do this, because if for some reason I didn't catch this, then I would have rendered a whole video and then you would probably just see black here, which would be really weird. So let's see what's happening here. Yeah, so it looks like this isn't showing anything because there isn't anything over here. Which is a bit strange because the content, let's see if I just move that. Yeah, no. Oh, okay, so now it just refreshed. Okay, I think that was just a bug. Now you can see the content isn't there anymore. So if I tab in, where is it there? So there's nothing here. And so there shouldn't be, there shouldn't be anything here. That's good. And so F12, there you go. Yes, perfect. I don't know, blug, a bug. Save, and let's move on. So this is exactly why I do this, so I catch things. Just making sure everything looks how it's supposed to. So all of my little animations here. And sometimes I catch, they're like, oh, this is not part 3, this is supposed to be part 4. And then I'll go in and I'll change that. This is going to save you a lot of time having to re-render things. And this is what a lot of people, I've never heard anybody do this on a tutorial. Never heard anybody say that they should do something like this. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, so I'm going to save it again and save another iteration, because again I save, and I know people probably wince at this, me saving, because that's so much space, so much data, but it's better than losing everything that you've worked on, especially if you're on a time crunch. Okay, so let's go over here. So this is our render output properties. Our resolution, I want 1920 by 1080. This is personal preference, and I got a hair. in my mouth. There we go, got it. Frame rate, of course, 23.98 frames per second. Time stretching, I don't do anything. Basically, I don't do anything with this because we've already set our frames, our start and our end frames. So we just close that. Our output, again, that // is the current folder. So I'm just going to click this. I'm going to go up one folder, and I have already made a renders folder for this. So I'm going to double click that, and I am going to save it in this folder, and I'm going to title it the exact same title of my blend file. This is for organization purposes. Now, I'm not the best at organization at all. This is my own method that I've come up with. I don't know if it's the most efficient, and I don't know what professional people do for their naming conventions and all of that good stuff. I just did it how it works best for me. Oh, and underscore, I leave the underscore here because the frame range is going to be added automatically onto that. And so if there's not this last underscore here, it'll butt those numbers up against the 605, which I don't want. So we just accept that. And then here's our output right there. File extensions I will keep checked because that will automatically add the file extension along with the frame numbers. Our file format is FFmpeg video. This is black and white. I don't want black and white, so RGB is our red, green, blue color. Color management, this is new. I just saw this, so this is nice actually, because if you forget to change your color management here, if this is filmic, I'll just show you what happens when I change this to filmic. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Okay, see how the color, it's basically bland. It just washed all of that color out. Filmic is meant for 3D objects. It makes it look more realistic. It's not meant for like just standard RGB video. But if you have this on filmic, let's just test this out because I actually haven't tested this out. And you're scrolling down through your render settings right before you render, you come down to color management and you look like, oh, this is filmic. I don't want to follow the scene. I want to override this. And we're going to override that and change this to standard. Let's see if that works. Okay, well, I don't know if it works in reality. I'd have to render it out to see. But it's not showing it in the preview because our scene is still like that. So anyway, that's just another thing that you can do with that override. I'm going to change it back here in the scene and just click follow scene. All right, and then our encoding is next. Encoding, we have presets. If you click this button, you have the presets for, different things. If you want to do a DVD, H.264, Matroska for scrubbing, depending on what you're creating the video for. MP4, Ogthera. I'm not all that tech savvy when it comes to these video type of presets. Container, you can choose whatever container you want. You have the option to auto split the output, and I think that has to do auto split output at 2 GB boundary. Oh, okay, boundary. Slow down, Justin. Auto split output 2 GB boundary. Yep. So basically to save on size, at least for individual file sizes. So once it reaches 2 GB for one file size, it'll split it and just keep rendering it. I haven't used that. That's not something that I have used, but it could be useful. Video codec H.264 is probably going to be your best bet if you're doing stuff for, well, most things. But of course you have different video codecs if you're familiar with those. Output quality, I do mine medium quality for my YouTube tutorials, and encoding speed good. This gives you really good results. I mean, I haven't heard anybody complaining about not being able to see how the resolution. The resolution is really good, and the file size. So it's the resolution, how big, how clear the picture is, plus the file size. So this gives you a really good file size and good quality. So I just keep everything on this. Frame rate interval, I don't really know a lot about this. I keep that at 18. It works just fine. I think it has to do with searching. Like if you're searching, if you're scrubbing through it, if you're playing the video in a player, and you're searching, the smaller the search is, the more fine-tuned you can search. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot more that goes into that than just that, but I think that's a part of it. The audio codec, I use MP3 because I'm making it for I'm just making it for YouTube, so it doesn't really matter a whole lot. Depending on who you're making it for, this could matter. So if you need it to be a higher quality, use AAC or FLAC or something else that's a little bit higher quality. MP3 is definitely compressed audio, so yeah, just keep that in mind. You have your channels, your sample bitrate. I just keep all of this at the default, except for I have MP3, and then you can choose what metadata you'd like to keep with the video as well. I just keep all of those on the same as Blender defaults. There you go. Save that, and we are ready to render. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click render, which you can come up here and do render animation. So render a single image is F12 or this button. Control F12 is render animation, or if I just click here, I just click that, and then you can see your animation here. Now you won't see it in the preview, but you will start to see it here in your render result as it goes along. And so I like to watch it here if I need to. Actually, generally when I render something, I just walk away and, do something either fun or, be a useful human being, like doing chores and dishes and things like that I put off for so long. Or parenting. If I'm not a parent, but if you are a parent, then you know that very well. But anyway, so while this is rendering, I mean, we'll probably end the stream before this render is finished, but I'm going to look at your questions. I'm going to see if I can answer any questions you might have. And if you have more questions and you want to stay on, I know we've gone well over 2 hours, but if you want to ask me a question, I will be happy to answer. Let's go back up here to the Boa noite from I don't know if that's Brazil or if that is actually from Portugal, but that is Portuguese, and I know a little bit of Portuguese. Tudo bem? Tudo bem? Tudo bom? Brazilian Portuguese, that is. So Angola, Africa. Okay. Okay, so I got the translation here. I'm going to read that here just a second. Good evening, guys. What would it be like to... Okay, actually, hold on. I need to turn off. I don't know why I didn't have this off in the first place. There we go. Okay. Good evening, guys. What would it be like if we had VSE with Adobe After Effects abilities? Wouldn't it be wonderful? And then he's telling you he's from... okay. From Angola. Is that how you say it? Angola, West Africa. Okay. Well, tudo bem, however you say that. Tudo bem, tudo bom. Now, to answer your question, wouldn't it be cool if we had the VSE with After Effects abilities? We do. It's called Blender. This is exactly why I love Blender, is because Blender, you have your, and I can just go here. So we have our layout. If we go to our 3D layout, oh, it's not responding because I have too many things going on at the same time. But anyway, you have 3D layout. Well, actually, you know what? Let's open up another instance of Blender. Let's open up another instance of Blender. All right, here we go. Here's your 3D scene that you can put in 3D assets to your video. You can do a particle effect if you want to do like magic effects. You can do animations. This is actually what I want to get into. I talked a little bit about this yesterday, or maybe well, it was definitely yesterday. I can't remember if it was the first or second stream, but I use Blender as a video editor out of necessity. I know that I've kind of gained the reputation of being the VSE guy on YouTube, but that it was never intentional that way. I had done a lot of video editing already with the Blender's video editor, and I'm like, okay, I want to get into being a Blender YouTuber. What can I do tutorials on? And since I already knew that, that's how I started, and I filled that, tried to fill that niche because I know that wasn't being done a whole lot. There were a few people that were doing it, maybe one or two people that were doing it that I learned a lot from. Mikey Cal Myers actually is one of them. So if you want to check his YouTube channel out, he was more of a general YouTuber, but he did Blender and kind of taught me some things on how to do that. But then I just started making those, and then I got, you know, more and more known for doing that. But I was only doing it out of necessity. I actually want to use Blender to create VFX. I wanted to take you have natural footage or raw footage that you take and adding 3D elements, whether that's like particle systems to make special, you know, magic effects or fire effects or whatever, or put other 3D objects like a 3D robot into your scene, or maybe using Blender to mask out certain things that shouldn't be there. Really, you can do almost anything that After Effects and Adobe Premiere can do with Blender, and a lot of people don't know that. Now, it's not quite as powerful. There are things that you like, you know, I hope in the future that Blender's tracker, it gets better. Like they can do like the face track. What is it called? In is this in After Effects, or I don't know if it's in After Effects or if it's in Premiere. Probably After Effects, I would imagine. But it's the flow mesh, the mesh maker, where you could, like, it recognizes your face, and then as your face moves, it kind of contorts. Maybe someone knows that and can put it in the chat what the name of that is. But that's a new thing in After Effects, I think, in the past year or two, and that would be super useful in Blender. So having something like that in Blender would be nice. So Blender isn't quite up to the standards, but there are so many things you can do. If I make a, you know, let's just add a particle system here, and yeah, particle system. Let's say, oh yeah, there you go. So here you go. We've got a particle system. And then what I can do, what I could do potentially, is bring in my video footage to put behind that, and then you have a cube that's emitting particles in your 3D in your footage. So I don't know if that answers your question. Hide and unhide and masking stuff both. Yeah, that's what I use Blender for. That's a lot of what I'm going to be creating a lot of tutorials for, is like different masking. I do have a tutorial, or masking tutorial up on YouTube, a series that you can check out. You can also check it out on blenderfrenzy.com. Cool render setup. Yeah, thanks. Like I said, it's so helpful for me, and it saves you time. That is still, I shouldn't have clicked on anything over here. Now I can't see my progress on that. Oh well. I will use this useful before render. Yes. The Running Man. Hey, long time no see, The Running Man. Hey, Justin, got here late, but I wanted to say hi. It's really cool that you are doing these real-time editing videos. Yes, I hope so. I hope people enjoy it. I need to pick the right times. So midday seems to be the best time for people. So I can't always do that. I took work off yesterday so that I could do midday. But I also did a live stream last night at 7, and 7 o'clock at Central Daylight Time on a Friday night is not the time people want to go watch a live stream of video editing. I found out. So midday works a little bit better. So we'll probably have to do these live streams, midday on the weekends. Well, it would be Saturday because I won't be working on Sundays. Have you tried quick tilting add-on? Quick tilting add-on? Nope, I haven't tried any add-ons for the video sequence editor. It's kind of on purpose, kind of not. I don't know. I have this sort of like, I like using, I don't want to say pure Blender because it's not that I need to have something that's pure. It's just that the more moving parts that you add on to something, the more reliant you are on more people. So if somebody makes a plugin for you to do something, you're not just now reliant on Blender, as we've seen, the screencast keys. Now I'm reliant on the people making the screencast keys to update their software to follow along with Blender. This is also one of the reasons why I don't use Adobe and the whole suite of Adobe is because from all the tutorials that I watch a lot of tutorials for Adobe stuff, After Effects, and just to see, because what I want to see how they do stuff, and then I want to see if I can recreate that in Blender. So I watch a lot of it, and there's all these like, oh, you have to buy this plugin, and you have to buy this plugin, and you have to buy this plugin just to do something that Blender can do straight way out of the box. Like, it boggles my mind. I'm like, why would, if Blender is free and open source and it can do everything that After Effects can do, if you pay for like $100 worth of extra stuff to add on to your After Effects, yeah, it's just it gets too many moving parts, and then you can shell out too much money. Now you can buy Blender plugins, no doubt that, but those are usually for like very specific things. So if you're doing architecture or things, room design, things like that, there are very good plugins that you can pay for to get a very specific thing that you're going for. And in that case, I don't mind that at all. It's just that every time I see a tutorial of After Effects, it's just like, you can't do anything without all of the paying for all these extra plugins. And then of course you have to pay for the Adobe Suite monthly now. Everything is a membership, and nobody wants to do memberships except for mine. Do mine. BlenderFrenzy.com. If you want more content, exclusive content, and you can support me as well. Okay. What do you think about the development that has been going on with the VSE in the last couple of years? Amazing. Do you think it's on its way to becoming a video editor that can be used professionally? Well, I use it professionally. I use do I have that picture still up? I don't think I do. Yeah, I made a robot arm for a DigiPen Academy, and I did a little rigging and animation and tutorial, and I use Blender to edit all of those tutorials. So it can be used professionally. Now, when you say professionally, maybe it can be used professionally for tutorials, but maybe not for like movie making production. Maybe it's not up to that standard yet. Because, but to be honest, I'm not familiar with a lot of video editors, so I don't have a lot of. I know people have been talking about DaVinci Resolve recently because they have a good free version. But one of the other reasons why I use the Blender instead of anything else is because of it's open source and free and just easy to pop onto any computer that I have. With stuff that you have to pay for, you have to deal with, at least in the past, maybe it's changed. I haven't done it for a long time, but you had to deal with so many licensing issues. You had to license it to work on one computer, and sometimes that even wouldn't work, and it was just a big headache, and then you'd have to call support and try to get this, and then you couldn't put it on another computer that you had, that you owned, that you wanted to switch back and forth between computers, and it was just a nightmare. That may have changed now with going to the membership model, but still, I'm just like, you know what? Blender, I can just download it on any computer, install it, takes a few minutes, and it's running. No problem with that at all. So I like using this, and plus again integrating it with the 3D software, 3D stuff for visual effects is really good. What do I think about the progress? So the progress I really like. They have been doing such great things recently, especially with like the transform stuff. So if I just make a new video editing scene. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to save that. New video editing, don't save. Okay, I'm just gonna add some color strips in here just to color strip. So I can even come up here and select our tweak. Just click and drag that. R to rotate, S to scale, Alt S, Alt R, Alt G to do everything basically you do in the 3D view. This was a huge progression of what it used to be, and this is going to help with your animating your motion graphics. And this is built into Blender. This isn't part of the power sequencer, which I think you could do with the power sequencer, but this is just in Blender. So that is good. I haven't been following it because I've been building my website. I've just been missing in action. So if you don't know, Da Running Man, I just launched a new membership website. This is, yeah, it's like a little patron site, similar to Patreon. So you get access to exclusive content, some free, and if you go to your the sign-up page, you can sign up for one of the 3 tiers. Frenzy Freebies, you get your free downloads. This is what my Gumroad was, basically. Gumroad is staying there, but it's not going to be updated. So all new Frenzy Freebie stuff is going to be here. As well as the old stuff will be here as well. Frenzy Plus will give you members-only tutorials and early access to YouTube tutorials. Frenzy Pro will be $10 a month for everything on the site. So video editing workflow videos, like what we're doing now. Assets and project files, like the transitions that I make for my tutorials. I'll have just an arsenal of those. I'm just going to keep adding. So we have a whole packs of different things, packs of lower thirds, packs of intro titles, packs of transitions and stuff like that. So full disclosure, right now, not a lot is on there, but I'm going to be continually adding to that. Members only question and answer live streams, where you can ask me a question about something in Blender. Doesn't have to be about the video editor. It could be anything in Blender, and I will do my best to answer your question live right there, where you can, we can follow up, kind of go back and forth saying, hey, what's, how do you do this? I don't know. Let's test it out. I might not have the answer, but at least I can try. Also, just live stream hangouts, showing you what I'm doing for my next upcoming tutorials, or some ideas that I have that might be coming up. That is all on your Frenzy Pro. If you log in and you go to your account, you can click live stream, and this is where your live stream will be if you are a pro member. Right now I am a Frenzy Freebies member, so I don't have access to it, but it's a dedicated page for these sorts of live streams. I'll also do free live streams in the future, but those will be based on super chats. So if you ask me a question and you pay for a super chat, I will answer your question. But we'll see. That's down the road. But the Frenzy Pro, we will have we will have just hang out. And also, if you do sign up for Frenzy Pro right now, not a lot of people are on there, so it's going to be a small group, and then you just get full access to yours truly for however long. And we'll see. It's going to ebb and flow. It's not always going to be. The membership model, what's offered might change depending on the users. So people that sign up for members, maybe they want something different, and I'd have to be aware of that, and then that might change. So this isn't all written in stone, but I do want to give you the best bang for your buck. So you can also let me know how that goes. Okay, does your new website have the previous tutorials that you had on the old website, like the easy borders? So easy borders, I want to revamp because it's really outdated. So that's not on there, not yet, but in the future, I will. I want to do a geometry nodes based easy borders, because right now it's a what is it? Drivers. Because you had the drive, you could create your own custom drivers with sliders, but now we have geometry nodes that you can create sliders for. So that is something that is in the noggin here and for future. Okay. Yeah, I meant professionally for like commercials, music videos, films. I don't see why not. I mean, you just use it until you reach the limitation that you can't. You need some other program to use it for. I don't know what those limitations are. I haven't used it in a professional capacity as far as creating commercials or anything. Um, I basically the professional experience that I have is just creating more tutorials, which is what I know how to do. Like most of all, the animated film next gen was done in Blender. Almost all of the animated film next gen. Oh, really? What's that? Next gen. Next gen animated film. What? Really? This was done mostly in Blender? If that's true, that's amazing. Okay, so easy borders. How about I'm kind of jumping around. I'm not going down the list. Does your okay? We got that. How about Blender VSE dealing with GoPro GPS files? Can it show maps overlays like GoPro video editor did? I don't know anything about the GoPro. I mean, I know what the GoPro is, but I don't know if Blender can handle those types of files. As far as the video editor goes, blender.org. How would I find that? I don't know what. What's the documentation? Here we go. I'll view the manual. Let's go to the VSE editors, video sequence editor. Editor, layout, view types, performance. Let's go to the introduction. Performance. I don't know. I don't know where to find that. Sequencer. Sequencer and preview. Maybe somebody else knows. There is a list somewhere. Blender video, Blender VSE file, video formats. This is probably just going to find the video formats that you can render in. Yeah, video output. Supported, oh hey, here we go. Supported video and audio formats. Blender offers 3 ways to export videos. Okay. FFmpeg containers. I know these are some of these are just the output. So yeah, I don't know. You can kind of look at these and see. I don't know if it does. I don't think it probably does. I haven't heard anybody using the GoPro files with this. I actually don't. Is there a dedicated GoPro? You said a GoPro editor. Is there a dedicated GoPro editor? I don't know. I don't know which editors support that type of format. I am missing the integrated stabilization. Well, you can, I think you can stabilize using Blender's clip editor. If we go to VFX and motion tracking, you pull your clip in here and then you put a tracking marker on it. I think that will help stabilize your footage. There's some good tutorials out there stabilizing footage in Blender, so that still can be a thing. Yeah, next gen was like 95% done in Blender. That is awesome. Yes, Blender's getting a lot of more professional recognition out in mainstream stuff. I mean, especially if next gen is on Netflix. I mean, having a Netflix animated, is it a series, a movie or a series or whatever? But having that made in Blender, that's really cool. Oh, that Wikipedia page you're on, go and read the sentence, the very first paragraph. Oh yeah, I just kind of glossed over that. Next Gen is a computer animated science fiction film based on the online Chinese comic 7723 and was directed by, okay, film stars, okay, John Krasinski, interesting. Where does it say Blender? Oh, hey, look at that. The film was released on Netflix in September 7th, 2018. I don't even know if I've even heard of this film. And was produced almost exclusively using Blender. Look at that. Way to go, Blender. Oh, I love Blender. Speaking of video formats, I've been trying to make 8K YouTube clips, but I think it needs a special codec. Probably 8K. That's why. For YouTube, why? Why would you need 8K for YouTube? I mean, YouTube compresses it, and for when you upload to YouTube, they have their own like codecs that they use. GPX are location files that you need the plugin to import that. Okay. Oh, okay. So like GPS, almost. Okay. Well, let's. What I can do is I can go here, and we'll go to Preferences and Add-ons. Can I just type in GPX? That doesn't do anything. GoPro? No. Video? Codec? I don't know. Maybe it's an external plugin. Yes, you can use the clip editors, but my videos have 100 clips. and you cannot open a strip part of a video into the clip editor. Yes, this is okay. This is one of the downfalls of Blender currently. So this is something that I hope will happen in the future. I hope that they will integrate the clip editor, the video sequence editor, and the compositor so that they're interchangeable. Like you can move things back and forth between all of those. Right now, they're kind of in their own little containers, and you can't. There's no good way to like cross over, you know, the stuff that you make in one. You kind of have to export and then re-import almost. So that is a huge downfall. So hopefully in the future, I'm gonna try to be a part of that process too, because I'm part of the VSE chat, and I want to be more active in that and say, hey, you know, let's get this feature going. This is painful. All tutorials only have one strip. Yeah, it is a pain. Okay, GPX contains data and the GoPro video editing software used to overlay stuff like map in the corner. Okay, yeah, because a lot of people use it for, you know, like adventure type stuff, you know, hang gliding or skiing or something like that. And then I think what you're saying is that the GoPro logs that information so that when you display the video, you can also display a map to show, you know, where you're going. That's pretty cool. I don't know anything about that as far as Blender's concerned, though. Why 8K just for kicks? All right. Well, I might not be a true 8K. I don't know. Maybe does YouTube actually support 8K now, or 8K now? If the Running Man says, if the development of the VSE catches up to the 3D stuff, then you would be able to put together an entire feature-length film from start to finish, including editing and using only Blender. Well, you can. I mean, so all of the, it's my understanding that all of the Blender open movies are created fully in Blender. Now, do they use their video editor? I think so. I could be wrong, but I think so. I think that all of Blender's open movies are created solely in Blender for that very purpose, because they want to be able to have the tools to use Blender to do just that. So I'm gonna start to wrap it up now. We've gone way over. It's almost 3 hours, but this is really fun for me. This is really good, and I love your interaction. And I hope it was useful as far as this goes. I hope I didn't. Yeah, I hope this actually renders. But you know what? This is gonna go live, and maybe I'll make this video free for people to see, so that they can see how to do this. And then you'll be able to be like, oh, hey, I watched him edit this video, and this is the final result, so that you can see both of them. Yeah, so I'll make this one free. There won't be any file downloads for it, but you know, I'll put this out on YouTube, and put a plug in there. Maybe I will actually also add a plug on this one. So I might have to re-render this anyway. I'll just put a little blurb saying, hey, go to blenderfrenzy.com and become a member, at the beginning and at the end of the video. So, so yeah, maybe I'll do that. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Let's see. Does it? It does, but I think it's a different proprietary codec. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I am hungry. I've only had a little bit of chicken, so I'm going to go eat and rest, because I've been building this website for a long time now, and I've just been spending all my waking hours that are not my day job trying to get that up and running. So now it's up and running, and you can go there. Again, blenderfrenzy.com. I know I'm plugging that a lot, but hey, I gotta, you know. It's the way that I'm trying to move forward to have me get separated from, any other obligations that I might have during the day, so that I can solely dedicate it to Blender. I want to actually use Blender and the video sequence editor for that very purpose. I want to start making short films. I want to make short films with VFX, and I want to be able to do it solely in Blender. That is my goal. And so the more you support me by, becoming a member on my site, the more you support me by coming to these live streams and subscribing to my channel, the more it helps me to get there faster. So if you want to support me, please become a member at blenderfrenzy.com. Other than that, I am bon appetit. Thank you. Thank you everybody for joining me. I really do. I love this. I love chatting with you. So this is fun for me. Thank you for the not integration. What's integration but conversation, I guess. Thank you for the conversation. And you will see me in the next one. So over and out. Cheers. Happy editing. Yay.